Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon. Guys and girls, I'm a retired New York City police detective with 20 plus years of law enforcement. If you like all things true crime related from the police perspective, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you will get all things DutyRon when I go live or upload another video. And today we're going to talk about the 8-page notebook confession by Brian Laundrie in the Gabby Petito murder. We're going to get into that. I am here in Aruba still. I'm on vacation, but I needed to go live and talk to you guys about this. So I want to say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, the replay viewers, the moderators, and all of the great folks who positively engage in this community. You are what makes it a great place. This is the inside of my condominium here in Aruba. I'm using Wi-Fi, and Josh is kind enough to come on. We're going to play a little media, and we're going to get some of your thoughts about Brian Laundrie's 8-page notebook confession and what your thoughts were on that 8-page. It was breaking with WFLA Now, with JB Buno. Brian Enton did a piece on it. Many media outlets were covering this all day long. Also, the Roe v. Wade decision overturned. There's been so much going on. Adam Montgomery, his lawyers requesting body cam footage from his arrest for the assault against Harmony Montgomery. The Summer Wells tobacco with Tim Coop and the reward money. There's just so many things going on. I could go on, but let's stay on topic here. We're going to talk about Brian Laundrie. He's got an 8-page notebook that we all knew existed, and his attorney, Stephen Bertolino, released that yesterday. I had a text conversation with Gabby Petito's mom, Nicole, here while I was in Aruba. I'm still here in Aruba, and we talked privately about the chain of events that unfolded yesterday. I'm not going to be able to share her thoughts with you guys, but I just want you to know that, that's the kind of relationship I have with Nicole Schmidt. I consider her a friend now, and she confided in me in a couple of things, and I got some insight that you guys will shortly be hearing about. Again, there's a second text version of this 8-page notebook that we see recovered. It's plastered all over the internet. By a show of hands, how many here in the chat have seen that notebook and seen the context within in that 8 pages? Just let me know by saying me. Just put me in the chat if you saw it. If you hadn't seen it, say no in the chat. Hey, Antonio, good to see you. Thank you for saying hello to everybody. Dawn Marie is here, Mrs. Kelly, Joey Brooklyn. Okay, so a lot of people have seen it. Looks like a lot of people have seen it. I got a little piece of media that we're going to play in a few minutes, but I just want to say this. So we have, all of us, we have different thoughts and feelings on this, right? Again, this to me, when I looked at it, and again, I'm on vacation, when I looked at it, I said to myself, this is typical of someone just not wanting to take complete and total blame. Although at the end, he said he mercifully killed her. I read that, and in my own mind, when I processed it, I felt like it was, again, him controlling the narrative, controlling the story, and saying, basically, I did it, but I really didn't want to. I wanted to take her out of her misery, which to me, as I like to use the word, it's hogwash. But I do respect everybody else's opinions on this. I will never bash someone to say, oh, well, maybe he was telling the truth. I'm just saying I've interviewed and interrogated, hundreds and hundreds of people. Rocky K9, good to see you. I didn't get a chance to obviously interview and interrogate Brian Laundrie, but again, reading that notebook message, the 8 pages, and remember, there's a text message version of this that, according to the Petito and Schmidt lawyer, Pat Riley, doesn't quite jive with this 8-page rambling. So yeah, Cat H says total hogwash. My BS meter went off like a mofo. Even here in Aruba, my BS meter was going crazy. Thank you so much, Cecile. Mathis for the $10 super chat. She says, well said, DutyRon. Thank you. Thank you for that. So good morning from Aruba. Josh, if you can, let's play that first clip. This is just a condensed version of the chain of events that happened yesterday. And let's listen in for some of the folks who are tuning in from outside of the country.
A major breaking twist in the Gabby Petito murder case. The first look at Brian Laundrie's final words, confessing to killing his girlfriend, Gabby, before ultimately ending his own life. In this 8-page confession, Laundrie says he killed Petito out of mercy after she suffered an injury. NewsNation's senior national correspondent Brian Laundrie has been on the story from day one. Brian, this notepad is the last piece of the puzzle we've been waiting for. So what did we learn from it?
Yeah, Nicole, this is the big piece of evidence that we have been waiting to see. And today we finally got our hands on it. It is 8 pages long, and it basically lays out Brian Laundrie admitting that he killed Gabby Petito. It's very, very strange. He basically says that this was a mercy killing, in his words. He claims that Gabby Petito was hurt when they were in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. I want to read you a section of this letter. Again, it's 8 pages long, but this is a part of it that really sort of sums up what he was apparently trying to say. He wrote, "She would not let me try to cross the creek, thought like me that this was fire would go out in her sleep and she'd freeze. I don't know the extent of Gabby's injuries, only that she was in extreme pain. I ended her life. I thought it was merciful, that it was what she wanted. But now I see all the mistakes I made. I panicked. I was in shock. But from the moment I decided, took her pain away, I knew I could not go on without her." So again, it's 8 pages long. It's interesting the way that it was released today. The Laundrie family attorney, Stephen Bertolino, released the full letter. He says that he went to the FBI today, along with the Petito family attorney in Tampa, to retrieve all of the evidence from the case. And this letter was part of this evidence, and he decided that he would release it, he says, because he wanted to be transparent. Nicole?
All right, Brian, I want to ask you about the letter, but first, does he say anything about the type of injury that he's claiming she had?
No, he doesn't say it. He says that he's not sure how she was injured either, that maybe she had tripped in a river. There's a creek near where her body was found. But again, a lot of it doesn't really seem to make much sense. Besides the fact, obviously, that he has now admitted in writing to killing her.
All right, and of course, Brian, you know, you literally followed this case every step from Utah to Wyoming to Florida. Does Laundrie's version of this story, this 8 pages, does it add up to you?
No. I mean, it really doesn't, especially since I've been to the place where all of this went down and where her body was found. It doesn't really make any sense. When I was there, I had full cell phone service. I was able to stream a YouTube video there that I was watching related to the case. So why couldn't he call for help? That doesn't make any sense. We know they had cell phones. And where I'm walking through the creek right there, that's the creek he's talking about. The van is right there. It's right on the other side of the creek. There's a dirt road and the van is right there. So it's hard to believe he couldn't get back to the van, make a phone call, drive the van out to the main road, which wasn't that far away, flag someone down. None of that seems to make any sense.
Right, yeah, not at all. And a mercy killing. I mean, my goodness. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Brian Ensign, thank you. We appreciate that. And of course, you can watch Brian tonight.
Yeah, guys. So as you can see, you know, this mercy killing, this 8-page notebook recovery release by Bertolino, it's hogwash. It doesn't make sense. Brian Ensign was the only reporter that was able to get a video stream. He was able to get Wi-Fi or cell data or signal out there in the Teton. He went live. You saw him trudging across that very creek where it's alleged in that 8 pages that Gabby was shaking and injured and hypothermia and so forth. This note is just, again, in my eyes, a bunch of nonsense. It's just a bunch of nonsense. And it adds insult to injury, because at the end of that note, that 8-page notebook, he says that he is going to kill himself and he wants animals to tear apart his body as sort of like a way of the family getting some relief, or I forgot his exact wording, but it was just crazy that he wrote that in there, thinking that thinking that the family was going to get some kind of relief, knowing that he was torn apart by wildlife in the Mayacahachipi Reserve. Bullcrap. I call bullshit. Major League. And here's the next shocker: is that Roberta Laundrie penned a letter, and it is alleged by Pat Riley, and we're going to listen to that in a few minutes. It's alleged by Pat Riley, which is the attorney that's the Petito and Schmidt family. Their attorney said yesterday, and broke this news on WFLA. He called in to JB Buno's show, and he broke that Roberta Laundrie, in between the time Gabby was murdered and Brian Laundrie came home, he was alive. She penned a letter to him, and on the outside of the envelope, she said, "Burn when finished reading." That in itself is so shady. It's shady AF that she did that. It is further proof to all of us that the dirty Laundrie family were working behind the scenes, and they didn't release what was in that letter, but I will tell you, I would bet my pension on that letter being a mother that's protecting her son. She probably said in that letter, and this is just my thoughts, hey, if you need to get out of the country, or if you need to get away, we'll help you. I don't know that that's what it says in that letter, but if I had to bet my pension on it, I don't think she said in that letter, "I'll help you kill yourself," because what mother in their right mind would try to assist their son in killing themselves? I think that in that letter, we're going to come to see, because the dirty Laundrie's attorney didn't release that letter. And you want to know why he didn't release that letter? Because it's not good for his client. I guarantee you, in that letter, and it's alleged that Gabby was already killed, murdered by their son. She penned that letter and put it inside the van and left it there, and said, who writes a letter and then says, "Burn after reading"? That's some shady shit right there. And she wrote that on the letter, and we're going to hear what happened with the situation in that letter. We're gonna hear about it. Joe Murray, thank you for the $10 super chat. Always appreciate the input of criminal defense attorney Joe Murray. He says he watched the hearing on the motion to dismiss. I wish that Gabby's family would withdraw this heartless lawsuit. Both parents lost a child, and nothing is going to change that. This is pure, gosh, I can't see the rest of it. But thank you for that, Joe. I respect your opinion. I respect your feelings. And that's what's great about America, is that everybody can have their sides of it. I don't agree with what you're saying, Joe. I feel that in this country, unfortunately, in America, people sue Walmart when they slip and fall in their stores. And I feel like the Schmidt and Petito family, under the way our the United States works, they have the right and the ability to go forward with this. So I agree to disagree with you, and I love you, my brother, and I thank you for being here and giving your input. But go ahead, Josh, if you can cue up that piece with Pat Riley. I want to let everybody hear. This is from WFLA Now, JB Benuno. He played this piece yesterday. Josh, if you can, we're ready to listen to that little clip. Here we go, guys. This is from the Schmidt and Petito family attorney. He's got a phone. JB took a phone call, and he's playing the audio through his phone into the microphone. And this is Pat Riley speaking. Go ahead, Josh.
In the aftermath of this, but that doesn't mean that the other side doesn't want to have their story heard. And so what I'd like to do, I'm going to hold up my phone here to the microphone. Joining us now on WFLA Now is attorney Pat Riley. Pat, you're live across all platforms, just so you're aware.
All right. Hi, JB.
Hi there, Pat. Pat, of course, who folks saw in court during the pretrial hearing in Sarasota County Court a couple of days ago. Pat, you contacted me, and I'll give you just the kind of floor and to say what you'd like to say in the aftermath of this.
Yeah, as I had said to you earlier, I was kind of shocked that this was released within about a half an hour after we left the FBI office up in Tampa. And I find it ironic that Mr. Bertolino says he wants, in full transparency, was releasing this. Well, someone should ask him why he doesn't release the entire notebook, but more importantly, ask him why he doesn't release Roberta Laundrie's letter to her son.
A letter to her son. So Roberta authored a letter to her son. Can you explain more of what you're referencing here? Because this is news stuff.
This is where it gets weird.
Mr. Bertolino has the letter. I don't have a copy of the letter, but the letter appears to be written to Brian after Gabby was killed, and there's some pretty extreme things that she said in there that, without having the letter here to quote it, I don't want to say, but I will simply tell you that there's some pretty extreme things that were contained within that letter.
When was this letter authored by Roberta Laundrie, and where is the whereabouts of it now? What can you tell us about it from those questions?
The letter is undated, so it's uncertain when it was written, but certainly based upon what's contained within the letter, it would appear as though the letter were written after Gabby was killed and before Brian took his life. And the letter is currently in the possession of Mr. Bertolino. Was that one of the items? I will tell you, by the way, that on the envelope that contained the letter, the words "burn after you read this" were written.
Burn after you read this.
Who authored those words? I'm just trying to be as precise as I can.
Roberta Laundrie.
And again, that was written and that was delivered to whom?
Brian.
And was this one of the items that was retrieved today from the FBI Tampa? And
yes.
And is this, you have alluded to me in multiple phone calls, Pat, about evidence that you have to back up the allegations that you have made in the civil lawsuit. Is this one of the pieces of evidence that you've been alluding to for so long?
Absolutely.
And where does the letter fit into as far as this story that we are now learning of, with Brian's words, his final words as revealed in the notebook? Where does the letter fit in relation to the story in the notebook?
I don't know that the letter necessarily fits in with the story of what's in the notebook. I'm simply responding to Mr. Bertolino's suggestion that he's trying to be transparent, but he's picking and choosing what he wants to be transparent about.
So this is now, you believe, of course, that this was released by Stephen, or I don't want to put words in your mouth. Do you believe that this was released by Stephen Bertolino as a chess move in the civil lawsuit?
I candidly don't know why it was released by Mr. Bertolino. That was a question that I've been pondering since it was released. I don't know if it was released in an effort to try to find some kind of sympathy for Brian because of what's contained in there. I don't see that. If he's trying to garner sympathy, I don't think that's going to work because it's an admission that he killed her. And even more so, if this was the woman he loved and there's supposed to be some sympathy, he left her body there and told no one where she was, or at least not my clients where she was.
Correct.
One more time. The cover of the envelope, according to you, did you see this envelope today at FBI Tampa?
I did.
And again, it said what?
Words to the word, and this may not be the exact words, but it was burn after you read this.
And it was a letter that Roberta was giving to Brian.
Yes.
And so burn after you read this. Why would in your words, why would a mother deliver that letter to her son? This is a family that was on vacation together after Brian returned home. Can you provide some clarity as to why Roberta would say that to her son and do so in the form of a letter? I mean, they're communicating, I'm sure. I mean, Brian returned home to Northport. He's returning back and living under the same roof as his mother and father. So then why would this letter exist?
Exactly.
I don't know if that letter was written before or after he came back to Northport, but there was the most I want to say is that there was an offer to assist Brian with some things in that letter.
An offer to assist Brian with some things in that letter. You have alluded to, Pat, and it's written in black and white in the lawsuit. You have made the claim that Chris and Roberta Laundrie attempted to help their son Brian flee the country. Is that a part of this letter, this note?
No, no, that's not a part of the note. Not to my recollection, no.
Because we're now getting some different, you know, I'm just trying to figure out exactly where this factors in and where this fits in, because we have the allegation, the civil lawsuit, that they were trying to help him get out of the country, but now this burn envelope letter is part of the equation. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly where this all fits in chronologically and how it fits into the relationship that existed between Brian and his mother.
I guess the most I can say, because again, it was undated, and so I'm guessing when the letter was actually written. Again, I'm fairly certain it was between the time period of Gabby's passing and then Brian committing suicide. So I don't know the exact date it was written. I don't know when it was delivered. Josh, can you pause this for a second?
Just keep it on, but pause it. All right, so guys, again, you're hearing live, well, you know, pre-recorded, but a live broadcast from yesterday, midday. JB Benino from WFLA now. Hey, JB, great friend of mine. You know, I got his permission. I have his blessing to use any of his news clips because he knows how I use them. I use them to help further educate the audience here on Crime Time with DutyRon. JB is a friend, so is Brian Enton. But this comment from Copper Horse, you know, I feel strongly, and I said it from the beginning, Ed Wallace and I, we weren't, I don't think we were really, we just started getting together as this case developed towards the back end of it. But Ed Wallace and I have agreed that the Laundries did help coach their son in some way, shape, or form. So Copper Horse, thank you for that comment. I believe this letter is confirmation that Roberta, as a mom, and the father as well, weren't coaching their son to go kill himself, but they were coaching their son, hey, get the fuck out of here. Get out of my house. Go, you know, there's too much heat here. Get out of here. And if you guys remember, he slipped away while people were camped out in front of his house and people were shouting in front of the house, and there was people, and there was a ton of media there. And he was somehow snuck out. Remember when the Northport Police Department was supposed to be watching him? Well, he snuck out. This letter was probably penned way before he snuck out of that house. And I don't think his parents went and said, hey, go ahead, go kill yourself, son. They just said, you got to get out of here. And they scooted him out. Antonio, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, he killed her and then told nobody. But his parents, hold on, where did that super chat go? Ed Wallace is in the green room. I'm trying to find that comment. Shit. The comments are so small. Hold on, let me help. He killed her and then he told nobody but his parents. He is nothing but a murderer who took the coward's way out. I agree. He was nothing but a sicko. Parents should be arrested, collar both of them. This is a former NYPD detective right there. Thank you, Antonio, for that message. Joe Murray, I know he's going to be chiming in and spending money here. I am alone in the feeling. Am I alone in the feeling? Hold on. That the lawsuit is heartless. You don't have I don't agree with you on that, Joe. Of course, you're a friend and, you know, I value your opinions, and I know how you feel about it. But Joe, I agree to disagree, and I love you and Ange always. Let me just add Ed Wallace because he is standing by. Ed, thanks for joining. How are you, brother? Ed? I can't hear you.
How's your going?
It's going good, man. It's just there's just too much going on. I'm gonna take Josh. Just keep this queued up. I'm gonna put us full screen. I'm gonna remove this full screen layout. Oh shit. Okay, hold on a second. Remove. There we are. Yeah, it's going good, Ed. I just, you know, I couldn't be quiet with this one, and we have a moment of we're packing, we're getting some stuff ready, and we're going to be traveling later on. So I had to come live. My wife is sitting here in the living room. She's listening in with us. What's your thoughts on this, Ed?
My wife would be killing me right now. But anyhow.
Yeah, I got it good, Ed. I got a good one.
Okay. So it's total bullshit. It's classic sociopath deflection. You know, he talks about his fiance and I wrote this in the chat, as if she's some lame horse that needed to be euthanized.
Yeah.
This is total bullshit.
It's sickening.
And now that I know this and I see the book, and I told in the text, I told the people, look at this. It may be what's called a Write in the Rain book, and maybe has to do with why it survived being wet. But that said, I believe more strongly now than ever that he told his parents everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And they knew when he left that he wasn't coming back.
And what's your thoughts on that notebook? I mean, as we see the lettering, it looks like some of it was smudged, some of the pages weren't smudged, and it looked like duplicate lines. Did they use that process that you talked about of getting the writing back, or was this a notebook that survived in that dry bag? You spoke extensively about it. Ed, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it survived in the wet bag. I don't see any evidence that they processed the pages to get the indented writing to make visible what was there, because then they would have removed the pages from the book.
Right.
And it wouldn't have still been in the binder.
Right. Do you have time to let us play just another 3 minutes of that, of this video? I want to play the rest of what Pat Riley had to say.
Sure.
All right, Josh, go ahead. Roll that. Josh. I think maybe Josh took a time out, a break. Oh no, there it is. Okay, yeah.
It was found on Brian, or actually was found in the van when he came back. So I'm led to believe that he had that, he received that before he came back to Northport, but I don't know that for certain.
Oh, so the letter was found in the van?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. No, the letter was found in the Laundrie's home, but it had been taken out of the van.
Gotcha. Okay. So now according to Pat Riley, of course, who we're on the phone with here on WFLA now, there's this the presence of this letter that exists. Pat, did you read the letter today while you were with FBI Tampa?
I did.
What can you tell us about it other than what it said on the cover of the envelope?
I can tell you that the letter contained an offer from Roberta Laundrie to assist Brian Laundrie.
And you won't tell us what?
I prefer not to say exactly what it said until I have the letter in front of me, or you have the letter in front of you and you can see exactly what it says.
To assist Brian in something. But again, this was found and was taken from the van, but found in the Laundrie home. So it's likely dated at some point before Brian returned home to Northport, or at least in that time window. So you're alluding to, and you're not telling us what it is, but you are alluding to Brian being offered help by his mother, Roberta, to do something that we're not being told what that is at this time.
Correct.
Okay. Your reaction to this story that Brian left behind. I'm sure by now, of course, you have read the 8 pages of the notebook. I'm sure by now that you and your clients have had an opportunity to at least process it. What do you make of Brian Laundrie's story that it was that he heard a splash, a scream, that she was cold, and that he was told by her not to leave her side and to stay by the fire? And this story that has been presented by Brian is really his.
All right. So yeah, he just goes on and on and on. But again, Ed, we heard from Pat Riley, that's the attorney for the Schmidt and Petito family. He said that not only did they get to see this new evidence, though not released evidence, but he also said that they retrieved Gabby's property, which we spoke about. We said, when are these heartless scumbags going to give back her clothing, her personal effects, and things of that nature? And I think we heard Pat Riley say yesterday that finally, yesterday, I'm on vacation, so what is it, the 24th of June 2022, they finally get their daughter's property back. I mean, that's heartless and scummy in itself. Any thoughts on these things, and why would Bertolino feel that he needed to release this without telling anybody? He didn't tell the Schmidt and Petito family that he was releasing this to the media. They had a meeting face to face at the FBI headquarters yesterday, and then he released it on Friday.
Well, first of all, they found that letter that Mrs. Laundrie wrote to Brian in the van. Okay, law enforcement found that letter, right? That letter is an overt act, and now we have conspiracy. I think we have crimes against the Laundrie family now that has been made evident by the mother producing this letter, suggesting to potentially help her son get out of the country, or whatever the case may be, or to help him elude justice. And,
it definitely sounds like obstructing to me.
It's aiding and abetting a fleeing felon. I mean, there's a number of different charges that seems like if what's in there is being reported accurately, that she could be charged with. And then I don't know how he got the letter. Was it in the mail? Did he? I don't know how he got the letter, but if you put it through the postal system, there's additional charges here. And apparently, this was given back to them at this meeting with the FBI.
Yeah.
And so I don't understand, I mean, it seems to me there seems to be still some criminal liability on the part of the parents that they can be charged. The statute of limitation is not over.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm wondering in my eyes here is why, if in fact the FBI knew that these things were in existence, they were at the FBI headquarters down in Florida. There was a face-to-face meeting. Gabby's mom said to me, I had to see this person face-to-face, meaning Bertolino. And that was an uncomfortable situation for them. If in fact all of this stuff is coming to the surface, so to speak, why if they knew about this stuff, the FBI and the investigators knew of all these items. This isn't something that Bertolino just pulled out of his ass. So this stuff has been on the table, and yet no charges. So I don't know if there's a gray area here law-wise, and I know Joe Murray is probably going crazy right now, jumping up and down. But there's a couple of super chats I want to acknowledge from Emily. Those were the words of a killer. I had such a racial reaction as a survivor of domestic violence. Justice for Gabby. Amen to that, Emily. Mandy Morrow says, I agree. I believe the parents need to be arrested, if nothing else, for conspiracy after the fact.
Yes, Joe, I'm not saying aiding and abetting the murder. I'm saying aiding and abetting a fleeing felon.
Correct. And at that time, he wasn't a felon because all of this.
No, he was already indicted.
Yeah.
He was indicted for the fraud sometime in that time frame.
Right. So, yes, exactly. There was the arrest warrant that was issued, the federal arrest warrant. Thank you for that. I completely forgot. Whoa, what the hell just happened? Hold on. Give me a second. All right, there we go.
And if he told his parents that he had killed Gabby, okay, and then she made that offer, yes, we have a conspiracy, and then we have also a conspiracy to destroy evidence because she told them to burn after reading, okay?
Right.
I mean, I see plenty of crimes here.
Yeah, some of the stuff is, undeniable, and it all broke yesterday. And I was at the beach on the sand in the water and looking at these things develop, and I was like, what the hell is going on here? What in God's name is happening here in this case? And it was just mind-blowing to see and read that 8 pages. And now we have a text version. According to Patrick Riley, there is a full text version that kind of contradicts the 8-page handwritten version. He says it in that piece that I played. Both of those pieces from News Nation and WFLA will be linked down below in the description. You can go and listen to them and read them. But if there is a text message remember he was doing the fake text messaging back and forth to try to elude authorities to think that Gabby was still alive. Maybe he put notes in his phone. Like how you have a little note section in our Samsungs and the iPhones, there's the same thing, kind of notes. Maybe he wrote another little bullshit note in his phone a different version and forgot about it. When the shit hit the fan, he didn't think to delete that version. The lawyer said pretty clearly that the version that was on the text message was not quite in line with what was written in that notebook. Did you catch that, Ed?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Yeah.
I did. Also,
So,
looking at that, notebook,
my battery's starting to die.
It didn't appear that it was processed for any fingerprints or anything like that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I think basically they did maybe they did a handwriting and analysis. They got some exemplars from Brian's writings in the past and had their analyst up at the FBI lab confirmed that it was his writing.
Yeah, it could be very possible.
Other than that, I didn't see any signs of any fingerprint attempts, because there would be chemical markings, and there would be, and if they use chemicals to develop it, which you would with paper, it would be ninhydrin, or even if they use powder like magnetic powder, you would see signs of it. In addition, they could have swabbed this thing and let it dry and swabbed it for DNA if it survived in that environment, but anyhow, I didn't see any of those other signs. But I don't know, man. It just seems like there are some crimes here that are not going to be held accountable for.
I'm trying to find a super chat that came in, but I'm going to have to read it. Wiley's Pony says, at Ed, Wallace, and DutyRon, you've got my heart pounding. I love hearing an intelligent, knowledgeable answer. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Thank you for that $10 super chat. So I'm going to
end solo. In the law, what happened? There was a hearing on Friday. Did the judge decide to allow the civil suit to go forward?
He said that there was enough to have it go forward.
Okay,
I think
so
that
then
there was enough. Yeah, so it is going forward.
So then there's going to be discovery, and then the Petito family, Schmidt Petito family, can ask to see, that note and the letters and the notebook. It's all part of discovery for the civil lawsuit.
Yeah. Yes. Just talk for another second. I got to answer the door. I got somebody here. I think the cleaning lady's here. You got the floor, Ed. You got the
okay,
floor.
Folks. I don't know about you, but I'm livid. When I read that book, I saw classic signs of, again, sociopath deflection, trying to justify what he had done, make himself look in the best light possible. I didn't want to do this, but she was in such pain, and it's all bullshit. Okay. And there's no way that his parents did not know what he had done. Okay, he had to have told them this, and that letter could be the smoking gun that shows that, in fact, they knew.
Yeah, and I want to just say something quick before we close. There's so many different opinions on this stuff, but I think the overwhelming majority of us feel that from the get-go that the Laundrie family, Roberta and Steve, were being evasive, not only with the Petitos and Schmidts, which a moral obligation as parents, as good people, would be to talk to the parents of, you have their daughter living in your home with you for almost 2 years. Not only just that, we're talking about law enforcement. They were met at the door with, here's our attorney. We are invoking our Fifth Amendment. That happened from the get-go. And I know that, that is part of our rights to.
Right. You have the right to remain silent. That's right. Everybody has that right. Okay.
Yeah. So I, again, Joe says, I don't believe the court rendered a decision on the motion to dismiss, but they didn't dismiss it. So I think that maybe there's another hearing. Listen, again, I'm on vacation, so I might have got it wrong. Yeah. Thank you, Joe, for that.
Yeah. Liz Morris says the judge needs 2 weeks.
Okay. So 2 weeks. This thing's going to go forward. If it doesn't go forward, that would be, in my eyes, a travesty of justice, because there's so much here now with the revelation of that letter that Roberta penned to her son, no matter when it was or how it happened. That in itself is something to have a conversation about. And again, it shows some type of helping a fleeing felon, aiding and abetting, helping to or give ideas to him. I want to see what that letter has to say.
Yeah. Also, if this letter wasn't brought out during this last hearing before the judge makes a ruling, the judge should be notified of the existence of this letter and its potential impact on the civil lawsuit before he makes his ruling. So if I was the Petito family attorney, I'd be making a motion to bring this to the judge's attention before he makes his ruling.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. So I feel the truth will come out. Patricia says, DutyRon, truth will come out, will be out. I agree. But, you know, again, like I said, I had a few moments here. I wanted to come live with you guys from inside our condo here. It's our last day. We're here. We have a full day here. So, but we're getting stuff all together and getting our stuff packed up and getting ready to go. So thank you, Ed, for joining. Guys, let me and Ed know what you think down below in the description. Leave us a comment. Make sure you subscribe and like the video. Share it onto your social media platform. Again, you know, we have so many people who have different thoughts, but I think by the overwhelming majority of messages that I've received, and probably Ed's going to get in the comment section, you know, folks, they feel that the Laundries, I mean, we're saying dirty laundries, this, that, and the other. You have a moral obligation to, I feel, as a human being, to communicate with your, you know, whoever you're hosting that's living in your home. I made the analogy of, I took many years ago my youngest son. He took his girlfriend with us to Aruba here. It was one of our annual outings here, and it's her father said, "That's my baby. Make sure nothing happens to her. You make sure you watch her." And you know what? I was watching her like a hawk the whole time we were here. When we took her out on one of those excursions and like those floats, they pull the kids around on the boat, and she flopped down into the ocean. You know, jumping into the middle of the ocean to, you know, make sure that everything was all right. I had the father's voice in the back of my mind. God rest his soul. He just passed away recently from cancer. I had his voice in the back of my head, like, you know, make sure my daughter is okay. That's my baby. So, you know, that's the right thing to do. And they didn't do the right thing here. They invoked their Fifth Amendment and said, you know what, Petito's and Schmidt, boom, I'm giving you the big finger. And unfortunately, that's what they did. And you don't get fans that way. You know, that's the right thing to do is to communicate with that family, not to give them the finger and say, hey, Bafanabala. You know, you don't say that, you know. So, Ed, I know we agree on this stuff. It just boils my blood, and it's hot. You can fry an egg outside right now. That's how burnt up I am about this. Same situation.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to catch up on a lot of these cases. Harmony Montgomery, the Summer Wells, the reward money. You got Tim Coop, who's now retaining a lawyer for the search and rescue over at Churchill Rescue. Why are you retaining a lawyer for the Summer Wells reward money? It's like $60,000. Why do you need to retain an attorney? We need to talk about that. That is all developed from here, and things of that nature. Here, Joe Murray is spending his whole wallet on us. I know he's going to ask me. He's going to send me an invoice for the money back. So he says, Ed, in addition to a motion to dismiss, the court is limited. Can you read that? I can't read it.
Yes, it's limited to what's in the complaint. The court must accept allegations as true, but it's limited to the four corners of the complaint. Yes, Joe, but can't the complaint be amended because new evidence just arose?
If you answer back, Joe, you got to send another super chat. I'm only kidding. All right, let's give everybody a look outside the door here. I'll let you guys see my final view before I go. I'm going to go full screen. Hold on, solo. That's what I'm leaving. I don't want to leave.
I wouldn't come back to New York from that.
Kind of sucks, right?
That's the way I felt when I was in Bora Bora. I didn't want to leave. I got to go back. I got to back to New York.
Yeah. Sucks.
Hi, Mrs. DutyRon.
Everybody's saying hi to you, Mrs. DutyRon. She says hi. Anyways, all right, let me get Ed back on and we'll end this. What happened? Where are we? Ed, I'm trying to exit solo there. Okay, there we go. All right, so thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. Ed, I know. Oh shit.
I think your mount is drunk.
Yeah, it's drunk. It's the battery's running out. Anyways, listen, guys, a lot of love and respect from Ed Wallace and I. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you this week. We'll get back to regular. What's your schedule like, Ed?
I'm gonna be available. Yeah, I'm gonna be down at my house with my parents in Jersey.
Okay, cool. So we'll talk to you guys soon. As we like to always end these live streams, God bless the world. God bless the United States of America. I'm in Aruba, of course. And God bless each and every one of you guys in the chat, but especially the victims of crime and their families. We send Petito's and Schmidt family a lot of strength, prayers, and positive vibes. Ed, I know you got something to say.
Well, as usual, folks, stay safe, stay prepared, watch your six.
Peace, guys. Thank you guys for joining.